The hot tub conspiracy. The words cut through the warm evening air like a blade. Get your hands out of our water and let civilized folks use it. I froze, my head resting against the smooth edge of my backyard hot tub, the jets humming softly. The late summer sun cast golden rays across my new suburban haven in Maple Grove, a quiet, upscale neighborhood outside Minneapolis. I'd moved here 2 months ago, craving peace after a grueling career climb to become the city's new police chief. But those words, spat with venom, shattered my sanctuary and unraveled a conspiracy I never saw coming. I'm Marcus Hayes, 52, a black man who spent decades navigating tense streets and boardrooms to earn my badge. That evening, I was soaking away the stress of budget meetings and precinct politics when the sliding door of the house next door screeched open. A young man, maybe 25, stormed across the lawn with a blonde woman in tow. His name, I'd later learn, was Tyler Reed. Lean, tanned, with a smirk that screamed entitlement, he wore loud Hawaiian swim trunks. His girlfriend, Kaylee, in a neon bikini, chewed gum like it was a competitive sport, her eyes scanning my yard with disgust. Tyler stopped at my hot tub's edge, his blue eyes cold. "You heard me," he sneered, jabbing a finger. "We've got a party tonight. Clear out." Kaylee chimed in, shrill. "Yeah, you can't just sit here when we've got guests coming." I took a slow breath, the chlorine sharp in my lungs. "This is my house," I said, voice steady. "My hot tub." "You're mistaken." Tyler laughed, a cruel, barking sound. "Your house? That's rich. Mom told us about you, the renter, some corporate temp. This tub's for family, not you." The lie was bold, but I'd seen it before. The refusal to accept a black man owning the best house on the block. "I'm not a renter," I said, my tone hardening. "I bought this place. You're on my property. Leave, or we'll have a problem." That's when Tyler's mother, Evelyn Reed, appeared. Mid-50s, with perfectly styled blonde hair and a crisp sundress, she carried an iced tea and an air of suburban royalty. "Tyler, what's all this noise?" she called, her voice syrupy but sharp. She didn't look at me, just surveyed my yard like it was hers. "There's a misunderstanding," she said finally, her eyes meeting mine with icy condescension. "We've always used this hot tub for gatherings. Surely your lease mentioned the shared access." The lie was so smooth, it almost felt rehearsed. "There's no shared access," I said, standing now, water dripping onto the stone patio. "I'm the owner, and you're trespassing. I'm also the chief of police, and I'm done being patient." Evelyn's smile tightened, but she didn't flinch. "Chief of police?" she repeated, her voice dripping with mockery. "How progressive. But people like you don't last long here. We'll see to that." With that, she pulled Tyler and Kaylee back to their house, leaving me alone, the peace of my evening in ruins. Her threat lingered, a poison in the air. I couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't just about a hot tub. Over the next few days, I dug into the Reeds' history. Property records showed their family had owned my house until a foreclosure 3 years ago. Evelyn's husband, Gerald Reed, had been a local investment guru until he was convicted of running a $20 million Ponzi scheme. The bank seized their home, and they moved next door to a smaller rental, watching me live in their former castle. Their rage wasn't just racism, it was rooted in shame and loss. But something felt off. Tyler's unhinged fury, Evelyn's calculated threat, they hinted at more than wounded pride. I called an old mentor, Jim Larson, a retired detective with a knack for sniffing out secrets. "Gerald didn't just lose the house," Jim said after some digging. "He's in federal prison for fraud. Took millions from neighbors, friends, everyone. And get this, Tyler's uncle, Frank Dawson, is a detective sergeant at the 4th Precinct. Old school, connected, and not your biggest fan." Frank's name sent a chill down my spine. Was he the we in Evelyn's threat? I confided in Detective Sarah Coleman, a trusted ally in my department. We started a quiet investigation, wary of the blue wall, the unspoken loyalty among cops that could protect Frank. Sarah ran a background check on Tyler. A few speeding tickets, nothing major. Too clean for a kid with his temper. "Someone's been wiping his slate," Sarah said. "Bet it's Uncle Frank." Our break came when we approached Kaylee. Sarah sent Officer Lisa Bennett, a young, empathetic cop, to Kaylee's waitressing job at a downtown diner. Posing as a concerned neighbor, Lisa got Kaylee talking. "It's Evelyn," Kaylee whispered, her hands trembling. "She's obsessed with that house, especially the hot tub. She made us confront Marcus and said we had to check something near it. Tyler's dad left something as legacy. Evelyn says it's their last hope." Kaylee's fear was palpable. She's not right in the head, and Tyler's uncle, the cop, he's always calling, talking in code. I'm scared. Sarah and I pieced it together. Gerald, knowing the feds were closing in, had withdrawn $2 million in cash before his arrest. It was never recovered. What if he'd hidden it in the backyard, under the hot tub stone patio? Evelyn and Tyler's confrontation wasn't about reclaiming the tub, it was a desperate bid to access their buried fortune. The racism was a smokescreen, a way to distract me while they planned their heist. But Frank's role didn't add up. Why would a decorated cop risk his career for a long-shot treasure hunt? Sarah pulled files on a string of unsolved burglaries targeting Maple Grove's elite, many of whom were Gerald's Ponzi victims. The overlap was staggering. 80% of the burglary victims had lost money to Gerald. These weren't random hits. They were personal. And who had access to their security codes and travel plans? A cop like Frank. The truth hit like a thunderbolt. Frank wasn't just protecting his family, he was running a burglary ring, using his nephew and sister as pawns. The hot tub drama was a diversion to keep me focused on a petty feud while he robbed the same community Gerald had fleeced. He'd weaponized their racism, knowing it would cloud my judgment and make me look paranoid if I pushed back. It was a brilliant, sinister plan. We set a trap. I announced a fake out-of-town trip at a staff meeting, ensuring Frank's allies would hear. Sarah's team staked out my house and a mansion across town, the burglar's next likely target. At 1 a.m., thermal cameras caught Evelyn and Tyler sneaking into my yard, pry bar in hand. They dug up a stone near the hot tub, pulling out a rusted ammo can. Before they could open it, my team flooded the yard with lights. Police. Hands up. Evelyn screamed. Tyler froze, and the can hit the ground empty. Gerald had tricked them, sending his family on a cruel wild goose chase from his cell. Across town, Sarah's team cornered Frank's burglary crew, but Frank bolted, sprinting through the woods toward my house. Armed and desperate, he emerged from the rain-soaked darkness, gun raised. You ruined us, he roared, blaming me for his crumbling empire. Before I could fire, Deputy Chief Tom Randall, a skeptical old guard cop, stepped in. Drop it, Frank, Tom said, his voice heavy. You're done. Tom had overheard our radio chatter and realized Frank's betrayal. Defeated, Frank let the gun fall, collapsing in the rain. Frank confessed everything. The burglaries, the manipulation of Evelyn and Tyler, the use of racism to discredit me. Evelyn and Tyler faced minor charges, broken by Gerald's final betrayal. The empty can was his last act of spite. The scandal rocked the department, exposing the Blue Wall's flaws and sparking reforms I'd long championed. Weeks later, I sat in my hot tub again, the new stone in place, the neighborhood quiet. The Reed's house was for sale, their ghosts gone. The water was warm, the jets soothing, and my home was mine aga in a hard-won peace. What do you think? Was Frank's downfall justice, or did he exploit a broken system? Share your thoughts on violence and injustice in the comments below. Let's hear your stance and hold back.